Hello everyone, it is Evelise here and welcome to another Bindrune Arcanum video. Hope everybody's having an amazing day today or evening depending on where you are in the world. So in today's video I am going to be talking about how to read the Bindrune Arcanum deck. Now this is part 1 of 4 videos that I'm going to do. Now the reason why I'm going to do 4 videos is I was asked if I could break down the deck separately, but if I could also break down the majors and the minors separately, because they are 2 different rune designs. So with the majors on both decks you have the Bindrunes, and with the minors like the quartz and the suits, the different suits, they have stave rune designs. So that's how I'm going to do these videos, and today we're going to be concentrating on the Bindrunes for the majors. And so if for some reason I end up confusing the crap out of people, please hit me up in the DMs or in the comments and I will do my utmost to bring you guys some clarity in anything that you found confusing in the video today. And so the first thing you want to understand about this deck is that yes, it is structured like a tarot deck. It has the same tarot components like with the majors and the minors, you know, the suits and the quartz and stuff. The obvious difference is in the representations of the cards themselves. With our deck, we are just using Bindrunes to represent the different cards. Whereas in a normal deck, you kind of get like all these pretty sort of like pictures and stuff that you know, sort of lend a hand as into what is going on here and the different meanings. Okay, so with that in mind, let me use the Hermit card for this. So with the Hermit card, okay, the Bindrune as a whole streamlines to its tarot counterpart. So the Bindrune as a whole has the exact same meaning as the Hermit card, you know, self-reflection, solitude, so like stillness, you know, doing that inner work, like stepping away from whatever it is you're currently doing to address something that's going on in your inner world where, you know, some type of self-reflection is needed. And that is what the Bindrune means as a whole. The beautiful thing about this deck is whilst that Bindrune means that, you can actually split the Bindrune apart into its separate rune components. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could read this deck as a like normal tarot deck. That would be fine, but you would be missing out on the, I don't know, the full effect of what these runes can actually do for you as separate components. Okay, so say for example you decided to pull a card of the day and you got the Hermit card, right? Now the Hermit card is telling you, okay girl, you need to step back and do a bit of self-reflection because something is going on. Okay, something is happening in your life, and you're like, sweet, okay. So you go into the booklet and you'll see the separate runes. Now those separate runes you can use as focus points of that self-reflection and where that inner work needs to take part. So there'll be a couple of runes, like there'll be no more than maybe one or two runes, maybe 3 runes that are gonna just be like blinking on and off like neon lights for you. Okay, so those runes that are doing that for you, they will cover areas within your life or within your life that need you to kind of reflect upon. You know, that's where the self-reflection is going to come into play. So say for instance Northeast, this rune here comes into play, like it starts blinking like a neon sign for you, and this rune here is also sort of like, you know, blinking like a neon light, and this is Ingus. So Northeast is going to be telling you that there is some kind of need that needs to be addressed, because whatever that need is, or like or a hardship, for instance, that is delaying things, and that delay could be in a particular area of growth in your life, if you know what I mean. Whereas as the Bindrune as a whole, it is alerting you to the fact that some self-reflection is needed. The runes as separate components is actually showing you where. So there is some type of delay with the Northeast rune, or some type of hardship. Definitely a necessity for you to go in. You could be sticking your head in the sand about something, but whatever it is, those things are actually hindering growth within your personal life, or within your life as a whole, if you know what I mean. So you can go a little bit further in to what the Hermit meanings as a whole, and actually gain focus points from the separate runes as to where the self-reflection might be coming from. And depending on, you know, whatever other runes that could be coming up, like you could also have Unzus in play too. So with Unzus, that is all about, you know, communication, some type of insight, you know, a truth or some type of wisdom. It could mean that there is a need for you to work on your communication, because it's causing hardships and probably delays where the Northeast rune is concerned, and it's your communication is actually hindering your growth, like whether it be just on an individual level, with other people, with your partner, with your kids, you know, with whatever thing that you are having trouble communicating. And it could also mean too with Unzus is that you're not communicating your truth very well. And so with all these rune, there's this need for you to communicate your truth, you know what I mean, because your growth has been hindered in that area. So you need to kind of step into the game a little bit more and speak your truth more often. You see what I mean? So that's the best way for anybody to read these cards, is like, yeah, sure, you can read them as just normal tarot cards if you wanted to, but to get the full effect, like the absolute 100% opportunity out of these runes, is you can go deeper by reading them separately. Take the card on the surface that the Bindrune represents as the Hermit, reflection, but go that step further and find where within that Bindrune are the things that you need to reflect on. Okay? So that is how you read this deck. It's structured like a tarot deck, has the same components, but you read it like a rune deck to get the full effect of what this deck actually offers you. And you know, it just allows you to go a little bit further into the cards, whereas kind of like with the Hermit and stuff, it's like it's a pretty sort of like basic surface card, and it doesn't really kind of like offer you any type of focus points, if you know what I mean. You kind of have to sort of like wade through that crap and figure it out yourself, whereas the Bindrunes and the runes as separate components kind of give you a focus point. Okay, of what you could be looking at, you know, type of self-reflection, because whatever runes are going blink, 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 blink to you, those are the areas that you could probably do with the most self-reflection. Okay, so this is how you read the Bindrunes for the mages. And that's all there really is to say about how you read, you know, this deck. The stave runes are a little bit different, but if you wanted to, you could just use the mages and that's it, and you would get a lot out of just using the mages. I kind of liken the mages to being kind of like in sort of like standing in the higher realms, whereas the minors are more in the earthly realms. That's kind of how I read tarot decks anyway. But, you know, with the added interpretations too of the colours, like the colours, like we have no interpretations for the colours, but the colours kind of are there to help you kind of like tap into and kind of invoke a more intense, intuitive kind of like response to the runes themselves and the areas of need that might be kind of like you need to look in and sort of like address when you start pulling the cards. When you read them as a whole, that is when like you can break them apart again as a whole. So like, you know, the sun could mean like, you know, it's all about joy and stuff, and it could be too that, you know, there's different aspects within different cards that mean that are going to be coming out in the separate runes that mean different things. Or you could just keep it as, you know, 2 or 3 different cards or whatever, you know, read them as just normal tarot cards to get, you know, a type of fuller picture. But for personal use, you might want to go deeper by breaking down the different cards and trying to understand what the different components are trying to tell you of each card. And so that is basically how you read the Bindrunes of the Bindrune deck. Now these runes, are, as I've said in other videos, they are not meant to be read in reverse. They are designed for a specific intention, and that is positive reinforcement, empowerment and growth, and uplifting the reader and sort of like into a positive space. Like, because like a lot of people, there's so much negative shit going on in the world, it's like they don't really want to read reversals. That's why there's a separate deck like the Merkstave. If you wanted to, you could read that. But these will definitely help you sort of grow in a way that I guess that kind of tarot kind of lacks, because the scope is widened up a little bit more for everyone here. And so hopefully this made sense to y'all. But let me know in the DMs or the comments if there's something you need a little bit of clarification on. I will do my utmost to sort of bring you that clarity. And yeah, that's basically it. It's a very simplistic approach to this deck. You can read it normally like a tarot deck, or you can go that step further and like break the rune apart, break the bind rune apart and read it as separate components to kind of give you focus points of where you can sort of like, okay, so this is what's going on, and this is what I need to focus my energy and my attention on, and that kind of thing. And so I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Tomorrow I'm going to be coming at you with the minors. Again, if you need clarity, by all means hit me up in the DMs or in the comments and I will answer your questions. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.